want to talk a little?
Are we live?
I believe so. I'm going to check it out. Bryce stopped sending for a bit.
Oh, okay. We're live.
Oh, famous.
We're famous. We're online. We're talking about
Step out here and take autographs.
Yeah. Play some music. He does all kind of cool stuff here. Lane shop. We got some metal cut. This is the mascot right here.
You know, lover dog.
Yeah, he's perfect.
I wish my dog was calm like that. He's a lover too. He's just so hyper, you know. He's just like.
Are we live? Are we going? That's his son, Bryce. Good to go? All right.
What's going on, yeah?
Bryce, this is Andrew, my good friend.
It's nice to meet you,
We got Andrew here ready to dive into the world of fabrication. He's been hoping for something better in his life, more creative, and you know, we've known each other for 17 years, and we got a couple of fab projects to do. We've just finished one up, big old table for customer lanes.
What are you doing now?
I'm a stacker operator who retrieving wood products. The wood's just been kind of slow, so I'm really good with my hands. Really want to, learn, how to, measurement stuff. Done some construction in my past. So I started talking to Steven. He's like, man, I'd really like to help you out, get into this fab thing. He's like, do some welding, see how you do. Start picking some stuff up. I've kind of trained him on the fishing thing our whole lives as we've been going there. But he's like kind of giving back, and he's like, man, I'd really like to get you into this, and we can maybe mesh together and get something going in the future. So
build some cool projects.
Yeah. Long future, I've been thinking I'd really like to get into boats or something like that, kind of
like building trailers,
drift boats, or steelhead fishing. Obviously,
or
come up with something different
or something like that. But yeah, he's
big, heavy fabrication.
Yeah.
Well, we'll do the small side and stuff.
Yeah.
Too,
Start off, and once I gradually get better, we'll go from there.
But yeah, he's thinking about opening a business because his dad wants to invest some money into his future as well. And, I'd like to help him learn the basics of fabrication. And, see if him can't start working out of his garage, kind of what we talked about, learning some stuff here, and just.
What kind of business model does that provide you or present you with?
I'm not 100% sure yet. We've just been, thinking different ideas of possibly starting out trailer repairs, light repairs, stuff like that, and seeing if we can turn that into some different things. Maybe some fence projects. I have another friend that welds big, they build like these farm cattle right now and do gates and stuff like that. He's been welding for I think 6 or 7 months like that, and he's been getting really good at it.
Oh, I think there's a huge demand for that. Everybody's trying to put a fence around something.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, or repairing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've done quite a few. I've done in there everything, but I know that handrails. I mean, just all kinds of stuff.
So how do you get the capital? How do you get everything together? Where do you find the space? And where are these customers at? How do you engage all of this and bring it all into a business? From where we are right here today.
I think a lot of it is, who you know, especially in a small town. and when you're starting, you usually start small time. You know, so
if you're doing a non-mail or non-internet word of mouth
Yeah.
business,
And then you have, also, I mean, social media is so big. I mean,
you can get a little bigger.
fairly good.
If you have
social
something
media.
that's not
Yeah.
shippable or easily shippable, then
Right.
you're stuck to still a local
Right.
area, no matter how good your social is.
And you just have, connections of people. My dad's a piano technician. He's been a piano technician from Roseburg to Grants Pass all the way down to Portland for the past 30 years. He says he knows a lot of people, and the piano industry, but he could also, probably a lot of people have a lot of nice homes that have gates and stuff like that. And he said he can, hopefully come up with some cards and start talking about it, and then. Obviously.
So how do you ship them there, deliver them, and all that? Is he going to help you with all that, or what do you got for staff wise? Because the gate's heavy, right? Or you just crane them off on the side of the house?
like employees.
Yeah.
Well,
employees are
probably come later. When you can afford it, when your projects start paying.
I got Steven, I got my other friend Ken, and then I have another guy that is also at my work that's a good welder right now, but he just, they cut us on hours for the longest amount of time, so.
I've never really fantasized about having a fab shop, a big one like that, so.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of curious what that's like.
You just gotta, probably just like here, I imagine you make money, you pay your bills, and then you have a business capital where you need to keep majority of your money in, and then when you see a good deal on a piece of machinery or tools that you will definitely use, then you can justify, buying more and more tooling as time goes on. That'll allow you to do more jobs that you maybe couldn't do before, But I think kind of just staying with limits of the tooling that you do have for a certain time being, and then graduating per se to a bigger place eventually.
Yeah,
more tooling.
Small steps, but taking steps forward to where, we could slowly build, and I think coming up with different ideas is something that other people, not just yourself, but that you throw an idea out, man, that's super cool. Like, oh, that would really work, and then you can hop in to where people are like, oh, I really like that. Tell that guy, multiple people, tell people about, how your work is.
Collaboration with other
that can
companies.
be a huge thing.
A lot of the time.
People don't, know your work or anything about you. It's going to be kind of hard to draw people in when you just tell them what you're doing, unless they're like, oh, man, I heard about your stuff. Oh, that's awesome. I've heard about your place. I want to go check that out.
So you're referring to word of mouth.
Yeah.
Okay, but that leaves you community based, 100%.
Yeah.
Hamstrung by word of mouth, right?
Right.
If that goes sideways, you're finished. The internet's a little different because you're taking pictures and displaying it to a much bigger audience.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm a little curious. The difference is to the still showing and displaying is just to a completely different market.
Sure.
Usually not as consolidated as word of mouth. Word of mouth is going to look like one dot on a map.
Yeah.
Where internet can look like you threw all the darts at the board,
Right. Yeah, there's in fabrication. You could build small time things and ship them. You can even build big time stuff. Like attachments to equipment and stuff like that.
Yeah, palatable stuff. Something that's workable.
Yeah, that's always.
And we're in a unique place here because we have I-5 right here. You can catch
put something on a truck and get it
24 hours
anywhere.
a day,
No, I think you definitely have to mold to where we are in the millennia, and being on social media is definitely a huge market for the stuff that you build. So I think you do definitely have to have some of that. But I personally know that in fabrication in this town, somebody always wants me to do something, and once you get well established in this town like Kai or, North Star right up here, I mean, stuff's walking in the door every day up there. And so, yeah, you have to start sort of slow.
But you think there's more demand than there's supply right now in the market, in the welding and fabrication market?
Yeah, it's in the fabrication. I see once you get established and people know you're there.
Well, regardless, I'm just saying that market-wise,
stuff's always breaking. People constantly need repairs. So if you start there and you build your capital, then you can start using that capital to venture off and do something maybe more experimental. Something that you haven't quite seen out that way done in a certain manner. And people go, "Oh my God, I love it."
So basically, and I'm just gonna try and use a few amount of words here. From the point of view of starting out strategic. I mean, you're basically taking broken things, grinding out welds, and slapping some new back in there. Right. I mean, it's just dirty grinding and scarfing stuff out.
Or just changing,
dusty.
But that's the bread. That's the bread and butter of a fabrication shop.
Yeah.
And then you can start building stuff from new.
Yeah, when you get to the new steel, you're like, yes, I made it.
Do you think that figuring out the way that it broke to where you could make it better?
Oh yeah,
would be a smart thing to do.
That's
look at it like, okay, why does this
number
happen?
one?
Let's do this to where it doesn't again. That way, that person, oh, I need this fixed, and this guy's going to fix it. Right?
Yeah.
He's going to do something different to where I'm not going to have to keep getting it replaced or broke. Trailers, for say, I mean, you're on the road a lot. You're going to be bouncing. You're going to be hitting, rip.
Yeah, they're constantly changing
it's going to be shaking.
A company that's been here from '86 or '84 or whatever it is that I work for now, they're still changing things.
Oh yeah.
I mean, because
it's improving or lightening or
like they used to not put winches on trailers.
Man, a winch is like
now it seems just like the internet.
Just pull it up, you're going to try to drive it into the back of your truck if you can't drive it.
You don't have a winch.
It's a necessity now. People aren't coming along and stuff back in the '60s. And so or using a piece of equipment. So there's just you have to adapt because not only let's just take trailers for example. Trailers have came a long way. They have some amenities that trucks and cars have now, just like the winches. And there's these companies, say you get used to using a certain axle, right? Well, now axles have ABS. They have better brakes, better bearings.
All the suspension has to adapt, and the hands have to adapt.
So they're constantly changing as well, and companies, you have to be willing to change with DOT laws.
Right.
Then you gotta keep up with
other manufacturers.
That's a huge thing, even on the repairs, is like insurance liability and stuff like that. Some free breaks in half or whatever because you welded on it, and it, who knows what happened, but they loaded £1 million on it.
So one thing that is big when starting, above the table fabrication, you have to be well enough to go and get your own certification because insurance and bonds are going to require you to eventually have that.
That's a good point.
So that's a really big thing. you know, just like the bar, you have to go and study to take the bar to become a lawyer. And so that's a requirement to be a fabricator, you know, out in the open. You can start off doing these repairs, learning how to fabricate.
That's why we're here today. Is you know you want you not put your hands on a. We're talking about a fabrication company and a business and all that. That's why I wanted to hear that.
Right.
You know, this is just getting recorded to YouTube. So.
Yeah.
So, you know, this is you're putting your hands on a welder today for the first time. You know,
Right.
Steve's offered to teach you that, or you know, work with you on that. My curiosity is, how are you 100% sure that's that's what you want to do before you even think about the business portion of it?
Just because I always, when I'm building something, or you know, I know building walls or tables or something might be a little bit different, but I just, time flies. I just have a really good time trying to figure out, okay, what are we gonna do?
Okay, so it's a building thing, because you mentioned fishing's a passion.
Fishing is my life. I like to hunt too, but fishing is.
Okay, so you wouldn't mind? You're thinking if welding would support your fishing, or
Support your life.
That and further.
Get you out of this.
I'm sure every one of us have financially struggled in life, and I'm used to working, you know, lots of overtime, and then, you know,
that's what I was going to ask. In the mill, you're working what hours?
40 hours, and I was working, you know, 60 for the last. I've been there for 9 years. What's that?
What kind of shift?
4-10s. Day shift.
Day shift.
Yeah. I've worked all the shifts since I've been there. I've been on night shift, relief shift. Relief shift now is different, but it was 2 days,
So
2 nights.
do you know anybody who owns a business or has owned a business, or do you get any like advice from
Yeah,
them?
my dad has a business. He's a piano technician, plus he owns a piano shop in Eugene.
So he told you end up working like 16s.
Yeah, it's a train. I've heard from Kai, great guy that taught me almost everything I know. And he told me you're jumping on a train that it doesn't take any stops, you know, and
it's never fast enough. It's never good enough, and
it never keep pushing.
It doesn't cost enough, you know. Like,
yeah,
but he says what's awesome is, you know, if you get a business established and you get to that point. I mean, fabrication to me is like, it's a demand. I mean, people constantly need something fabricated.
Well,
and so once you're known,
you know how it is. Like once
you
you start into doing something, you cut all your pieces and everything laid out, and if you're in your own shop, and I mean, you guys know how this rolls. It doesn't really anywhere. As soon as you hit the button, somebody's gonna walk through the door. The phone's gonna ring. This or that.
Throwing you off.
Yeah, and then you're like off track with that. You know, it's shop work 101, and it's. So when you can, that's kind of why I was asking about staff and things like that, you know, because of what you were talking about, Kai, there. Once you get where you can have 4 or 5 people around, you know, somebody catching somebody at the door, you know, so you don't, everybody doesn't have to jump up and like, oh, what's going on, you know?
Right.
Stop some of that, then you're. It's not, you know, hey, I need to pick up this 400-pound piece of steel. You know, you don't have to get the forklift. You just get it, scoot it across the floor, you know, or wherever you're going, unless you're, you know, whatever. But it makes things easier in a shop where you have weight. Everything's made of mass and it's heavy.
Yeah.
It just wants to stick to the floor. And you can deal with the custom. Everything, if it's custom fab, everybody's coming in there for you've got to get their interpretation of the product. What they're even trying to accomplish half the time. That's tough.
Sometimes they don't know what they want. You know, they just have an idea and
give it to you.
Yeah,
but that could
you
be
come up with your idea.
That could be 2 or 3 hours to pull that out.
Oh, sure.
I mean, especially on a bigger project. I mean, it could be 20 or 30 or 100 hours on something. I mean,
Right.
I've seen the stuff go all the way to the infinity or wherever that is, that sideways 8 thing. But
Well, at some point, something has to give.
yeah, there has to
You
be
know,
a balance in
yeah.
there, and you know the right jobs, the right customers, or whatever. You know the shops that take in, like, here's my prints, my plans. You know, the project manager gets a hold of you, drops it off, you know, with the check and asks when they can pick it up. You know, those are the jobs that, you know, seem like they would be good, but I'm sure that they're, you know, 6 bidders, you know, and taking the, you know, the lowest. But you don't have all of the customer back and forth. You know, you're not trying to create something from scratch from somebody's vision in their head.
Right.
There's also the mills. I see a lot of people doing that, like going into the mills and doing.
Oh, they do repairs and builds.
Oh,
and
yeah.
stuff like that. Yeah, a lot. I've been on a crew that's done that before, and I mean, it's monotonous, but it's high-paying jobs. They're high-paying jobs. I mean, they're super simple. They can be super dangerous, but I mean, they are high-paying jobs. And but yeah, I think keeping yourself open to build whatever, you know, is the best way to go, because you get to be creative. You get to take the knowledge that I know, or
Well, you've built manufactured trailers. I mean,
Yeah.
you get the print comes down the line. There's no.
yeah. Well, there even though you have
Well,
a set
in
trailer,
theory.
customers still want, okay, I like this trailer, but I want this certain
It
amenities.
still comes to you as
Yeah,
a
this
print.
footage. Well, actually, you'll be so surprised that the company I work for right now, the guy just has like notes and pictures of certain titles, trailers.
So you guys do
This
free
guy
photo?
has it like all in his head for the most part. I mean, he has certain cross member layouts, you know, and certain orders come with certain basic things, but depending on how, if a customer wants to change certain things, it's crazy how if you change one thing,
No,
it
changes
snowballs throughout the entire trailer. And, you know, that's something you still have to figure out. So even though something may be technically on prints, you know, it's not, it doesn't always work that way. Or you'll discover that the engineer has made mistakes because he hasn't had his hands on steel before. And so he thinks on paper, this is great. Well, and stuff, you know, every project, something ain't working out all the time. And so getting around that.
So even in a perfect world setting, it's still not perfect.
Oh, absolutely not. No. And then you got to account for mistakes that you yourself will indefinitely make, and time that you will lose. You know, so I'm sure, you know, there's a ton of things you come into play with business, and I think I've barely scratched the surface of many things that can happen that you have to be prepared for or handle in the right manner. Otherwise, you know, you dug yourself a hole. You know, but even all that given said, you know, I think if you keep enough strive to keep pushing through those hurdles, you know, and jumping over them or going under them or whatever you got to do to continue and have a positive attitude. You know, don't let something get you down for weeks on end. You know, so that was yesterday. You know, we're gonna figure it out today. We're just gonna keep on moving, and yeah,
That's about all you can do.
that's it.
Yeah.
I don't think we really get a choice. You know, so.
No, you just, you know, you can't be giving up unless you want to live on the riverside, not in a house.
In a van that way.
Yeah.
Or
Just
or
down by
even
the
that.
river.
Can't live in the past. Gotta
All right.
keep
Well,
pushing.
I just kind of wanted to document this, and seemed like a good opportunity. So
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you.
right on.
First project.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I don't know if you're expecting that.